Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Diamond Within podcast. I'm your host, Courtney Hancock, and we're here with my new friend, Amanda Cox. And Amanda was a referral from another friend, so I'm really excited to get to know little Amanda a little bit more here. So I'm going to turn the time over to Amanda just for a minute to have her introduce herself and tell her a little bit more about her. Amanda, take the floor.
Hi, Courtney. My name's Amanda Smith. I live outside of Dallas, Texas. I'm a wife, a mom of five, uh, a homeschooler, homemaker, all the things. um, and yeah, I'm excited to get to talk to you.
Yay! Homeschooler, that's not easy. I mean, I know a bunch of homeschooled moms and kids, and man, I wish I could homeschool so much. I just don't have the time to invest with, I told you before in the pre-show that I'm a registered nurse and it's very fulfilling. So tell me a little bit about homeschooling and how that's been for you.
Actually, think that homeschooling is one of the best decisions we've made for our family. Um, there were I have five. My oldest is 25. Um, he was in public school until ninth grade. And my next oldest is now 19, but she was in public school until second grade. She dealt with a lot of bullying, but I also felt like I didn't realize until after we started homeschooling full time that uh, my oldest was a different person at school than he was at home. Uh,
Oh,
we really had a hard shift in our family life direction when we started homeschooling. Um, and it was a little bumpy at first, but ultimately, I really think, and my big kids agree, that uh, that shift was one of the best decisions we've made for our family because it allowed us to connect on a different level, but it also allowed me to tailor their education a bit more than the opportunities they had at public school. So with my daughter, my second, um, actually didn't realize until I fully got her home that she was just kind of skirting right under the radar. She was moving along, but she wasn't actually learning anything. So we actually had to repeat the second grade and kind of start over and build a better foundation than what she was getting at public school. So, and we've also done private Christian school. My oldest did private Christian for a while. Um, it's hard when you've got a lot of kids, a lot of different levels, and you're pulled in a lot of different directions. Um, being a stay-at-home mom gives me a little bit more freedom than a working mom has to, you know, find pockets of time throughout the day to work on things. I say that we school around life. We don't live our life around school. Um,
love it.
yeah, so it really has been great for us. I know it's not the right thing for everyone or even every child, but it's worked for us so far. So
Yay. Oh, I have so much admiration and respect for moms and parents who can do homeschooling. And honestly, I mean, I would if I could for my situation because all the stuff that I hear that my kids are dealing with at school, it's just, I mean, I can't protect them from society. Um, I can't protect them from everything, but having them at home would be just so much more safe for them. And they would still get their studies in and they would still learn everything. And just do it in a much safer setting where there's not stupid, teenagers like cursing down the hall or even little kindergartners starting to swear now. And I'm like, it's like,
yeah,
oh my gosh. I mean, my youngest is 6 and she just is finishing up kindergarten and it's just heartbreaking. And don't even get me started on school lunch. Oh my gosh, school lunch. So anyway, That sounds like that in itself has just been quite a journey. And what year did you guys decide to pull them out of the public school system? Was that again?
So my daughter I pulled for 3rd grade. That would have been, I think I pulled her in 2015.
Okay, so it's been 11 years that you've been doing homeschooling. So you're kind of a pro at this and figuring out like how to manage your time and keep kids on track because that's kids are hard.
These are hard, but
Young kids are hard.
I
So
think because, like I said, we do school around life. We don't live our life around school. That helps because um, it gives them a bit more freedom as long as they get their schoolwork done. It's or if we have things that come up, my youngest has um, well, two of my kids have medical issues, and we've had some seasons where not a lot of school was getting done um, because life needed to take precedence. And um, I really beat myself up about that. I had a lot of mom guilt in those seasons, but I also knew that the medical issues needed to be the main focus in that season. Well, they necessitated that they were the
yeah,
main focus, um, and I just didn't have a lot of me left. And but because of the freedom that we have with homeschool, they're able to get caught up at a faster rate than if they would in public school, because if they get behind in public school, then they have to repeat a whole grade. Whereas
yeah,
we can just go through the grade at our own speed or their own speed. Um, and I also love that if they're struggling with a subject, we can take the time in that. Whereas with public school, the curriculum has to move on at a certain rate to get through the school year. So we can take time. I have one who really struggled with reading. He was a later reader. Um, and I was feeling like I'm failing him. But we just took our time, right? And once it clicked, and he just took off. And then another one who really struggled with math and for all intents and purposes would have been a couple years behind in terms of um, public school. But it was more important to me that they actually learned it and had a good foundation than forcing them through to be at a certain grade level. Um, and once it clicked for her, it really clicked, and she was able to move through faster because she had that solid foundation. So I really and I'll be honest, when I first started when I first started homeschooling, I was a very reluctant homeschooler. um, because I thought I didn't have the patience. I don't have you know, I don't know how to do this, all the things, right? That we kind of tell ourselves when we're going into something new. But it really has been a beautiful journey for us. So
a beautiful journey. I love that. Love your description when you say beautiful because I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with is seeing the journey they've been on, how far they've come as beautiful. And when all that they focus on is the bad part of it, when you don't realize that it is beautiful. Could you tell me what for you has been like the most beautiful part about this entire journey? I mean, you've seen your kids obviously like succeed and excel at a self-paced curriculum, right? That they get more nurtured at home. But is there anything else that you'd like to add that is just more like beautiful about this journey that you've taken your kids on with homeschooling?
so I would say that um, it's really allowed me to see each of them more so as individuals. um, to see their strength in ways that maybe I wouldn't have seen if I didn't have um, this opportunity. And but I've also seen their resilience, um, their tenacity, their in times when they wanted to just throw up their hands and be done with it. I've seen them persist to continue through.
Well, that in and of itself is just rewarding. You get to see your beautiful, creations because, like, they are our creations. And quick side note, we forget that we are creators. We are creators, and you've created a space for them to more or less thrive in this today's society so that they're more protected. And you've been the example to them of persistence because you're right alongside them doing it, making sure that they're learning the content. And also with the family dynamic, trying to get along.
Yeah.
Because one other thing that you mentioned is that you do school around life.
Mhm.
And I think that would be a good subject to kind of touch on a little bit because so many times we are letting like life happen to us without like awareness and realizing that there's things that need to be like tended to, and like you can't let some things slip. Like you were talking about your two kids with medical conditions and you how you had to stop things and make sure that they were taken care of. Could you elaborate more about this idea of building it doesn't have to just be school around life. It could be anything around life, right? When people are so work focused and not enough like life at home or family focused. Could you elaborate a little bit more on that and your thoughts?
Well, I think um, over the last several years, probably the last 7 actually, um, the Lord has really taken us on a journey to completely shift how we view life in general, but also people. Like, I love that you said that we forget that they're created. I'm going to take that a step farther and say we forget that they're created in the image of God, that they are image bearers. Um, we tend to kind of see our children as um, kind of below us in a way, of us as being like over them. And in a sense, we are, as their protectors and their teachers, right? They're guides through life,
Yes, yes.
but they are still image bearers. They're still created in His image. They bear His image, and they're their own individuals with their own thoughts and their own opinions. And sometimes they don't align with yours. uh,
Oh, I get that. I get that a ton.
yeah.
I got my kids too. It's like they're their own person.
Yes. And so He's just really shifted how we view family, how we view people, um, and what our priorities are. Obviously, we still have to live, right? We still have to eat. We still have to have a place to to live.
Uh,
The bills have to be paid.
oh, darn it. Heaven forbid that we should still have a place to live and have food to eat.
Um, so, people still have to work. My husband has been blessed with a job that he gets to work from home. He works remotely though. And that was also a huge blessing in this shift in our family dynamic. But just realizing that work and stuff, um, and kind of the concept of keeping up with the Joneses, so to speak, isn't then they're not the most important aspect of life, right? Like your family and your community are really your most important parts of life. And if those are suffering, um, and you don't take care of them, then it doesn't matter what kind of house you live in, what kind of car you drive, how much money is in your bank account. If your family is suffering, none of those things really matter. So,
I think that that's easy to get wrapped up in this idea of keeping up with the Joneses or trying to be like this person or that person when, I mean, we're all entitled to have certain needs and desires, right? Like, yeah, you should have goals and things, but you shouldn't let it take control of things. Like, I like to talk about that. Like in my book, I talk about how to let go of the ego, and I feel like our egos just get the better of us, and just when things get really hard, I mean, you just gotta let go of that ego of trying to be like someone else. Like I remember when I was trying to look for my first nursing job. I tried a job that was nights. This was when I had 3 kids, before my 4th one came along, and I just couldn't do it. The patient load was ridiculous. I couldn't handle it. I was a brand new grad, and I'm like, "I can't do this." So, after 2 weeks of trying the training, I spoke to my one of my nursing instructors at the time, like, "What do I do?" And she said, "If your license is at risk and you just don't feel comfortable, then just don't do it." And so my point in that is that I was comparing myself to, like, my friend who had done nights for 5 years and my nursing instructor who taught at the school and who also worked nights on weekends. I'm like,
yeah.
I am not them.
Yep.
I'm not my friend. I'm not my instructor. I gotta do what my constitution and my body allows me to do, or else my family's gonna suffer. And it took me a few nursing jobs to finally find a good niche. And now it's a school nursing schedule. I get most of the summer off. I work don't work nights, holidays, or weekends. I get the same schedule that they did because where I work, it's in the same school district. And I'm like, it was a godsend for me to finally get to that job so that I could still take care of things at home and still help provide for my family and keep my nursing license active because I really enjoy it and it's fulfilling. If it's not working and if this aspect of life is not doing you good, I mean, it's like you got to change some things. And I knew that after the previous job before this one, I went to God in prayer. I'm like, this is what I need in this in my next job. Like, I don't care where it is. I just need a good manager and a good team, and I can't do nights. I don't care. I can do weekends. I just can't do nights. And then 2 months later, I found it.
Yeah.
And I talk about that in my book that it's like you can't give up when you know that you need something and you searching and searching for a solution or something that the solution is out there. And it's the same with what you were talking about with your homeschooling. It's like we got to figure this out and we do figure it out and we make it work and kids are more like balanced. Would you give me your thoughts a little bit more about how you've managed your time with your kids, making sure there's family time and school time? Like, what does a typical day look like for you?
Well, in this season, um, we're doing like an online curriculum, and so that kind of frees me up a good bit to get my things done that I need to get done. Um, I am pulled in kind of a lot of different directions. My youngest is, I talked about 2 kids with medical issues. Well, those 2 kids, between the 2 of them, have over 25 food allergies.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and my youngest is, disabled. He had a brain injury at birth. So
Oh my gosh.
he, um, he has a lot of therapies, and, his first couple of years of life were, uh, really rough, and that's, kind of the time frame, when I didn't have a lot of me. He required all of me, and, I didn't have a whole lot of time for school, and that was he's 7 now, so it was right around when my next 2 kids were, like, my 3rd and 4th were preschool and kindergarten age, kind of moving into that, and that was where a lot of the mom guilt came from because my kindergartner should be learning to read, and he's not yet. And um, homeschoolers talk a lot about um, how the average age to read has been shifted. That before No Child Left Behind, the average age to start reading was around 7, and that means there's kids that start younger, but there's also kids that start older, right? So the average
Yeah,
age
yeah.
is 7, and I kept repeating that to myself, like, "You're not failing
Oh,
yet," you know?
oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Um,
Yeah,
and he did. He started it was like it clicked for him around 5.5, and it clicked very naturally, um, which was really encouraging for me to see that, um, some homeschoolers also talk a lot about how so much learning happens through life, right? That
yeah,
Um, we don't always have to be sitting in front of a book or a computer, or a workbook or whatever to learn. So much learning happens through life. And I think as adults, we can look at that and say, yeah, I've learned a lot of lessons just through life, right? But we forget
uh,
how much learning on what we would think of as an educational level also happens through life. Um,
yeah,
and, but So for me, my youngest now where we're at, he has 2, 4, 6 therapies a week. Um, we've kind of gotten them condensed to 2 days, but I also like we're not the kind of family that can just go run and grab fast food if it's been a rough day because I have one
you
kid
have
with
food
me.
allergies. Yeah.
um, so I also just can't go and buy whatever off the shelves that would be a quick meal. So a lot of my time and mental space is dedicated to food and therapies. And so I have kind of outsourced, so to speak, an online curriculum for this season until we get a little bit more caught up. They are caught up, but I just would like to get a little bit more um, under control.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that food allergy 25 food allergies between the 2 of them. That's insane, and I can relate a little bit about the part where you said, "I can't just go and buy something, out of fast food," because I've dealt with food sensitivities with my autoimmune stuff. Um, like I had to get rid of gluten and, some, corn and white rice and most sugars, and that eliminates quite a bit of food. So I mostly eat I mean, even a lot of fruits that are too high in sugars, like bananas, I couldn't eat them anymore. I couldn't eat a lot of oranges, and then I had to stop drinking juice. So I mean, I've had to radically change the way I eat just so that I don't get these pesky symptoms and flare-ups. So I mean, I get that, and it's been really hard to adapt with well, what can I eat here? Maybe one thing? It's like I eat only like a salad and I have to be careful with the dressing or I get it. It's just hard. Like, what do I eat? And I just had to figure it out, just like you did. It's hard to stay positive sometimes when it's like your favorite foods are ripped from you and you can't eat the same thing as everyone else. And we forget how much of our societal norm is centered around food.
Food, yes,
And that's something I'm incredibly passionate about too. It's like that's not the focus,
yeah,
and food is the focus. It's the community, it's the people. But it's like I don't want to get too deep into that, but it's like you've had to reshift your focus on what's more important. And then it's like, okay, we've got to make sure that they've got food to eat and that they're not starving. And it's like it doesn't matter if it has to be the same thing like 3 times a day. If that were the worst case scenario, you'd still be okay, right? And I think people just lose sight of, the little things that they need to be grateful for. like with your kids that are medically like complex. It's just what helps you get through like those hard therapy days or like when you got to go to the store and like you're limited as to what you could buy. Oh, you can't go here. You have to put the extra time and energy into this or that to make sure that they've got what they need.
Um, well, in complete transparency, some days are better than others, right? um, I actually, um, my youngest birth and his injury have has probably been one of the most transformative experiences for me as a person, but also for our family. Um, it's caused me to struggle the most, um, both with my own emotions, my physical body, but also with my faith. Um, it's caused me to question doctrines that I held pretty closely. It's caused me to wrestle with what I actually did and didn't believe, what I actually was feeling, and kind of understanding that, coming to understand that our emotions aren't necessarily the enemy, um, and our emotions are real. We can't just kind of gaslight ourselves out of our emotions by ignoring them, but
No, 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 no.
but
Yeah.
that I now believe that God has given us our emotions to help us work through things, that the grieving process is a perfect example of that, that if we just try to attempt to force ourselves to not be angry or not be upset about something, we actually halt our healing in that process. Um, that He's given us our emotions and these processes to work through things. Um, and that has helped, that realization and understanding has helped our whole family in our healing journey of dealing with things from our past, but also our current, you know, life. Um,
Yeah.
in the beginning with my son, when especially when he was in the hospital, like in the NICU, and in the early times, um, we used to we'd say, just focus on the tiny victories. Find your tiny victories because it's really easy to look at all the places where everything's going wrong, right? Um, but in those times, and sometimes you just have to let it all hit you, right? And just deal with the aftermath, right? But
Yeah.
as a to get through, right? It helps
Yeah.
to focus on your tiny victories. Where can you find hope in what happened today? Where can you find the positive? Because when you're surrounded by a lot of negative, just with whatever life is throwing at you, um, it can be hard some days. Some days
Yes.
you can sit in your puddle of yuck, right? And go,
Oh, yes.
I can't even find the light glimmering on the puddle of yuck today.
Oh, yes. I
um,
love that you use the term puddle because, like, sometimes that's what you feel like. It's just like, I just feel like I'm melted away. I love the tiny victory thing that you pointed on. It's just, I'm a firm believer that by small and simple things are great things brought to pass. And it's the small increments and small daily things that you're doing that lead to lasting change, that lead to that mindset shift that you were talking about. Just where's the hope in here? Where's the good? I'm sure you've heard the phrase where attention goes, energy flows, right? You've probably heard something similar to that. It's like you can choose where to put your focus. But yes, the emotions that you said that you need to feel, And emotions, according to one of my favorite authors, Dr. Joe Dispenza, he says that emotions are the language of the body. And it's like you can't just ignore that, but you can also not ruminate in it, right? You don't need to sit and wallow in it. You got to let your body feel what it needs to feel to get back to that kind of homeostasis, because that's something the body is constantly doing, is trying to maintain homeostasis. And like those emotions, like you said, help us process what just hit us. Like you said, sometimes it does hit you, and yeah, you got to deal with the aftermath, but those emotions are there for us. Um, so I love that you talked about that, just the tiny wins, the feel what you need to feel, and then it's like pick yourself up. Let's deal with this. You got to clear your mind now. Let's go take care of this type of thing. And could you tell me about an experience that was like just maybe with your most medically complex kid, where it was a real, like just a huge blow, and you just were like frozen. I don't know what to do. How do we even think about this? Like, what do we even do? Could you tell me about a time like that? Because honestly, everybody's dealing with their own emotional blows, and it's like they just don't know how to process it.
Well, his birth would probably be the biggest one of I don't know how to process this, because we were at a birth center, out like an outside of hospital birth center, um, and I had a prolapse cord. My water broke and the cord um, prolapsed, but we didn't catch it right away. So we were an emergent transfer to the hospital, obviously. And when he was born, as a nurse, you'll probably understand this, and parents may understand, but he had an AFGAR score of 1.
Oh my goodness.
So his only AFGAR point was for a heart rate of 50, whereas most newborns are well over 100 because their little hearts are so tiny they barely.
Oh my gosh.
So that was your whole world stops. I just remember asking a nurse because I was awake when he was born. They didn't do a C-section, and so I just remember asking the nurse, "I don't hear him crying. I don't hear him crying. Is he breathing?" And she said, "Not yet." And that was like everything stopped. And so the next, that night was everybody. Nobody could give you any hope. uh,
Oh,
and so you have to find your own hope. You have to cling to anything you can, because nothing external was giving us any hope. He wasn't breathing
oh,
on his own. His heart was beating on its own, but um, it was all. We just have to wait and see. Uh,
um, just real quick question. What was his gestational age? Was
he
he preemie, full term?
he was full term, 40 and 5. So
Okay.
um, he was one of the biggest babies in the NICU because they're used to preemies. So he was 9 pounds. So
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and
A 9 pounder. Wow.
they were all like, "We don't know what to do with a baby this big." They normally bathe them in these, if you've been to the hospital, those little plastic rectangular tubs. They normally bathe the babies in those little tubs because they fit, but he
Yeah.
didn't fit.
Oh,
It was it was interesting, but
it's like he's too big for the NICU.
they were like,
I mean, at least he wasn't tiny.
yeah,
At least he was, not a preemie. But I mean, oh, I can't even imagine what that would that would be like. My son wasn't a NICU baby, but he was 38 weeks gestational age, but he was born at 4 pounds. Emergency, yeah, emergency C-section. It's like it hits you. It's like, is he okay? Is he gonna be okay? I mean, he's had his own um trials and therapy and delays, and behavioral issues, and he's very much I know he's a special kid, but it's hard to watch them endure all their challenges in therapy, but, you learn, like you said, that you've learned so much from what you went through, and if you could do it again, would you change anything?
That's such a hard question.
Yeah.
I don't know, to be honest, because I 100% believe that we would not our whole family would not be the people we are today if his birth had gone as it should have, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know that I can give a solid answer on that because I also see what he deals with every day. I have to watch him struggle. Um, cognitively, he's not affected, but CP, so he has hypotonia and dystonia. And, he wants to get up and run around and play with his siblings, and he can't do that. And he can play with them, don't get me wrong. He plays in his own way, right? But I know
Yeah.
if he could, he would just get up and run around the house like they do. Um, so I I don't know that I can give you a solid answer on whether I would change it or not, to be honest, because I feel like saying I wouldn't change it is unfair to him.
Oh, yeah, I understand that.
But I
You want the best for your kids.
but w- I am so grateful for who we are as people now. Um,
That's hard to be that vulnerable saying, "Would I change anything? Maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't," because and I think it's okay to admit that I don't really know, but I can still look back at what we've been through and realize that there's still been a lot of good that has come from this.
yeah, for sure.
Like, there's still a different dynamic maybe than what you would have imagined. I mean, we all go through challenges and say, "Oh, this is not what I would have imagined." It's like, and even to the point of tears and feeling abandoned, it's like, why was I dealt this terrible hand? And like, why I feel like God's abandoned me and I feel like he doesn't care about me, but I think we misunderstand the point of suffering in and when we get caught up in these thoughts of abandonment and we don't realize that suffering has divinity in it. I mean, would you believe that suffering is divine?
Yeah. I mean, scripture tells us that trials produce perseverance, perseverance produces character, and character produces hope. So it's our character is not built in the easy times of life. Like good, solid character is built through hard times. And so
Yes.
to wish away the hard times, you're I mean, you're wishing yourself lack of character, right? Like someone who doesn't go through as many things as someone else has poor character. But I can honestly look at my life and say that the most character development, the most growth in me has come through the harder times. Um, so I don't want anybody to hear that and be like, well, just because I haven't gone through what she's gone through, then, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
definitely see it not just in me, but just in as as an observer in life, um, that that scripture is true, and it's through that. And I kind of want to touch on what you said about the questioning and like why did this happen to me? Um, I didn't. I've been through a lot in my life, but it wasn't until my youngest and watching him go through what he's had to go through that I questioned God and I got angry with God.
Oh,
And before that, I'd I'd kind of almost prided myself in the fact that I've endured a lot, but not ever been angry with God or not ever questioned Him. But it was through that experience that taught me that grief is a process that He created to heal. And so when we are asking, why me? Why did you let this happen? He wants us to wrestle with those questions because they're necessary for growth. So
Yes.
even if you're in a spot where you are questioning and the why me, it's not that he wants us to stay in those places, but he wants us to really wrestle with those questions and really work through. And there's no answer at the end. Spoiler alert. there's, there's no answer at the
But
end.
I believe that there you can find a certain peace and hope that you were talking about. Even if I don't get the answer, I can trust that someday I'll know and that the answer lies with God, even if He's not ready to give it to me, that I'll know someday. And to be at peace with that. That there's a reason for all this. And I don't have to be angry. But that awareness is easier said than done,
Yeah.
right? Um,
Well, and I think we oftentimes, even if we don't necessarily get a why answer, we can definitely look back and see the growth that has happened through what we went through, but we can also see how he uses it to help minister to other people. Like
right.
so many times, I've had so many opportunities to walk alongside other parents going through hard medical things or um, any number of other things that we've been through. That if you don't have the experience, you can't link arms with them in the same way. You can say supportive things, but it's different when someone links arms with you who's been there and said, "Come on, this is the direction we need to go. Come on, let's walk this
Uh,
way." Um,
yeah.
so I don't know. I just even if we don't have the why, doesn't in a lot of times we're not going to have a why, but that doesn't mean we can't look back in once we're through it and say, "Oh, I see this fruit that came from that." So
That is incredible. And what a powerful way to look at something that was so hard. And yes, you might have that thought of, I wish I could go back and change it. But at the same time, then you wouldn't get to have helped those other parents. And you wouldn't be who you are today without that refining process. It's a continual refining process until like the end, like until we die, right?
mhm.
I believe we're meant to be like God, that we're in the refiner's fire as the silver, and He's purifying us of all of our impurities as mortals on this earth, and that people see His image in our countenance. The refining happens in the hottest part of the fire, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the hottest part of the fire. But then I think back to like the story in the Bible of like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, where they were in the fiery furnace so hot. I mean, that's a literal fiery furnace, but it's like, but who was there with them? Because they chose to still have hope and believe and to not doubt what God could do for them and that it was for their good, even if they perished. The hottest part of the fire is like it's meant for our growth, and there is a way to find joy in it. It's for me, it's looking at all the little things that God has given you each and every day. Remembering that you're surrounded by abundance
Yes.
and it's all for us.
Yes.
I still have this. I'm still there mentally. I mean, I can still walk. I can still eat, even if like I can't eat the same things as I used to. I mean, like you still have your kids and you still have your home and you still can do your homeschooling. I mean, you just don't realize that there's so much to be grateful for and to find joy because we were created to have joy in our families and to have joy in our lives. But there's only one way you can know, you know, the joy. You have to know the darkness, taste the bitter, and go through those valleys. You don't get the joy without the sorrow, unfortunately. But that's, I will believe, the way God designed it.
It wasn't until I became his mom that I realized that you can hold 2 truths at one time, right? Um, that something can be really hard and really good at the same time, or that it can feel really bad, uh, and you can really be struggling with your emotions or what you're dealing with, and also find joy in it at the same time. Um, so I just didn't realize how dichotomous life was until going through trials and finding joy in them.
Yeah, that's incredible. And back to the part where you said that you felt like guilty as a mom. I mean, I feel like we forget that we need to give ourselves moments of grace when we've given it our all and say, I need to take some time for me a little bit. Because if I'm not taking care of me, I can't take care of other people. I can't take care of my patients, and my kids. And my patients are all like G tubes, and they have tracheostomies and very fragile. Um, so it's been a privilege to work with them just to see that they are still kids
Mhm.
or still teenagers, some of them, and there's still a person in there, but to just not take anything for granted and to remember those times that I need to give myself grace too so that I can be where I need to be for them. Maybe one of the last things we talk about is when did you realize that I still have to take care of me too to take care of them? Because so many of us, especially moms, are just givers and give, and we think we have to be selfless all day long. One of my patients has allowed me to be like more of my authentic self because she's nonverbal. She can't focus really well on things, but she's got this cool device called a Dynabox that tracks her eye movement. I'm sure you've probably heard of that. So, yeah, so she is hilarious.
Yeah.
She loves she loves like farts and burps and all things funny and funny accents, funny noises. Like I go in to take care of her and I start whistling like this, and she loves it. Loves it. So it's like I would have discovered, like, my true authentic self if I hadn't had her as a patient,
Oh,
even though she's super medically complex, and it's like, that was, something I desperately needed for me and my well-being. So, was there a time that you, like, realized that I've got to do something, I have to take care of myself?
I'm still trying to learn.
Aren't we all?
Feel like um, I can't speak to other cultures and societies, but I definitely feel like in America we're very production oriented, and we find our worth in how much we can achieve and get done. Um, and so I've really had to learn, number one, that my worth is not found in how much I get done in the day or how much I produce, that I am innately worthy, and we're all innately worthy because we are created in the image of God. Um,
Oh, yes.
so that would be the biggest like lesson I've learned in this realm of things is that I'm only one person, and I don't have to earn my worth. Um, but I do still struggle with, like, if I didn't get everything done in a day, I literally will struggle with thoughts of, well, I shouldn't have stopped to eat for lunch and I would have gotten this done, you know? And then I sometimes will express this to my adult kids and they're like, that's ridiculous. You still have to eat. And they'll get on me. They'll be like,
Mom.
"Are you eating? Did you eat today?" And I'm, "No."
Uh,
So, just to be transparent, like, I do still struggle with this, but I have found one thing for me that, I do for me, and it's puzzles. Um, so
fun.
I found that my mind is always going, and that tends to be the case for a lot of moms. And my mind is always going, but when I'm doing a puzzle, my mind is quiet because I'm focused on the puzzle. And so while it's still exercising my brain in one way, I call puzzles my brain break because it quiets kind of everything else. And I just,
It quiets all those crazy thoughts. Yeah, I have something that I do in my life, and for me, it's practicing yoga.
oh yeah,
Um, I told you before that I got my yoga teacher certification, and it does the same thing for me. It's like it calms all those crazy thoughts and fluctuations, and I'm only focused on that one thing, and I'm able to decompress and de-stress. And for you, it's just it's puzzles. I think it helps your mind process everything in the background without you knowing what's going on, so that yeah, so that you can get going to the next thing when it's time. It's like I just need your brain break, and I love that. Like you got to give yourself these breaks of some kind because you can't be constantly going like the Energizer Bunny as much as I wish I could be, or we all wish we could be and have no need for rest or no need to eat. It's like, that's just a waste of my time. But it's just, you got to take those times to slow down during that refinement process and to let your body either adapt or let your body heal, whatever it is, and to be okay with that.
realizing that there are seasons where you do need to slow down. There are seasons where you can be more productive, but we see that cycle even in creation, right? Like spring and summer are very productive seasons, and then fall and winter are more restful seasons where not as much is produced, right? And so realizing that life isn't always just this one steady stream of produce, 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 but there are seasons when we need to slow down and let ourselves rest. And then if we don't, we feel a lot of talk now about burnout, right? Because people aren't allowing themselves to rest. Um, and just being mindful of that in different seasons and being okay with being able to rest.
Yes, if the body is not designed to be going constantly. Yes, the body's constantly repairing itself, but that constant state of fight or flight is drain. It's going to take its toll and manifest in very different ways. It takes a toll on our health. And then you get a whole cascade of other stuff. So it's like learning to slow down when you're going through that difficult time, realizing I need to take a step away. One of my favorite lines, really quick, from the Bluey cartoon.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Bluey at all?
Mhm.
Is it's when mom says like, "Mom needs 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Mom, did we do anything wrong? No, mom just needs 20 minutes." It's like just take whatever you need and be okay with it because we're diamonds being formed, and you got to give yourself a break in that refinement process as you're learning and growing, and be kind to yourself because like you're gonna turn into that gem somehow. That silver, you're gonna be purified somehow, but just give yourself those moments of grace. Do your puzzles, take a walk outside, whatever it is for you. And puzzles, I love that you've got your outlet that helps you. So, do you have any final thoughts here before we close?
The thing that reminding ourselves that our value is not found in what we do or how much we can do. We're innately valuable, and that just because something is hard doesn't mean it's not good.
And just because it's hard doesn't mean there's not joy to be found in it.
Yeah, for sure.
There is joy. And it's just all around you if you know where to look.
Yep.
Well, Amanda, your story is incredible. Wow, I am deeply touched by your experiences and your wisdom. For all who are listening, take Amanda's words to heart. Take her experience and learn from it, and know that just because it's hard doesn't mean you can't find the hope or find the joy or find the good. It's there if you know where to look. Amanda, thank you so, so much for joining me today. Had so fun talking to you and hearing your story. And hey, guys, we'll check you back later. Have a great one. Bye.
Bye.